Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beat Depression the Easy Way, 3 Critical Keys, where today you'll learn the exact 3 keys and strategy I developed and used to beat depression in 2006 and stay depression-free since then. So today you are in the right place if you're currently struggling with depression and if you want to stop being depressed and unhappy and enjoy life again. You're also in the right place if antidepressants haven't worked out for you as well as you would have liked, or maybe you want to avoid medication altogether. You're also in the right place if you want the freedom to beat depression on your own, so either with or without therapy. You're also in the right place if you want to beat depression in the fastest, easiest way possible, with a way that really works and gets you immediate results. And overall, you're in the right place if you want the power to get rid of depression on your own terms. So either with or without medication or with or without therapy, it's up to you. You have all the power and control. To quickly introduce myself, my name is Dave Fonville, and I am the founder of DepressionStrategy.com. The reason I'm so interested in depression is that I struggled with depression for 10 years before I finally beat it for good in 2006. And since then, because I'm so interested in this topic, since 2011, I have taught over 3,000 students how to beat depression faster and easier the way I did it. And since they've had a lot of success, I know that you'll have a lot of success as well. As far as my background education goes, I have a BA from Duke University and an MA in philosophy from University College London, but everything you're going to learn today was 100% self-taught. There is absolutely nothing academic or theoretical about what you're learning today. It's 100% practical, 100% useful, the exact kind of thing I wish I had learned in my undergraduate or graduate studies. So today you're going to learn lots of fantastic things by hanging around. You're going to start off by learning the 3 keys to beating depression faster and easier. You'll learn the one thing that you absolutely want to focus on to beat depression in the fastest way possible. So you want to focus on this and ignore all the time wasters. And you're going to learn the advanced step-by-step system that I used to beat depression that completely transformed my experience of life and helped me break free from depression for good after struggling with it for 10 years. You'll also learn how to beat depression even when you barely have any energy or motivation to do anything. You'll still be able to beat depression with the strategy and keys I'm teaching you today. And you'll also learn the answer to the most common question that I get asked, which is, how on earth did I beat depression without taking medication? You're going to want to stay till the end of this training, because at the end of the training, I'm going to show you how you can get a PDF of all the slides so that you have all the notes that you can access at any time. And also, I'm going to give you, as an extra bonus, a cheat sheet of the advanced step-by-step system that I used and developed to beat depression and stay depression-free since 2006. And this was absolutely life-changing for me. So this is something you'll definitely want to have on hand so that you can benefit from it as well. To give you a little bit of context so that you understand where I'm coming from, this is my experience with depression. I struggled with depression, as I've told you, for 10 years, off and on, and what would happen is that the periods of depression would get worse and worse. So I started dreading depression. Even when I was happy, I was dreading the next depression strike. So I was kind of dealing with depression even when I wasn't depressed, if that makes sense. And sure enough, as the periods of depression got darker and worse, they lasted longer. I became more and more miserable. It became really a serious issue for me. So I finally came to the conclusion, enough is enough. After 10 years, I don't want to deal with this for another decade, so I looked for help. But the problem is the people that I was looking to for help, they fundamentally did not believe I could get rid of depression. They said it was impossible. It was a lifelong condition, whether I liked it or not. And so the result of this kind of so-called help is I felt more discouraged, helpless, and hopeless than ever. So stress and anxiety about my condition went way up, and I was super depressed as a result. In fact, I became so despondent over this is that I almost that I almost gave up, and I resigned myself to this idea that I would just deal with depression for the rest of my life. I thought maybe the so-called experts were right. Maybe there was something broken or defective or wrong or off with me that made me depressed, that made it impossible for me to get rid of depression, that I would just have to deal with it. So at my worst, I thought, why on earth even bother trying to do anything about my condition when it's hopeless? And this is just when like I said, I reached the bottom of my struggle with depression, where I was at my lowest point. The only thing that saved me is that I had this nagging question in the back of my mind, which was this: what if these experts were wrong? Because there's something about what they were saying that did not make sense to me at all. To say that it was impossible to get rid of depression, because I could imagine, what if you lived a perfectly happy life for 50 years, but then you lose your wife, your kids, your job, you lose everything all at once, and you become deeply depressed for a couple years. Is that it? Are you stuck with depression for the rest of your life? Or let's say you've been a very happy person, but for your whole life, and then one day you're just thrown in jail and you're tortured and you become deeply depressed for years. Is that it? Now you have to deal with depression for the rest of your life? It didn't make sense to me. It made sense that there were factors that could cause someone to sink into depression, but also it made sense that there were also factors that could then help you get out of depression. That made more sense. And also, when I looked over my life, I had been very happy for a long time. Before those 10 years I struggled with depression, I had proven that I could be a happy person, so why couldn't I go back to that? So I finally, I was interested in other people who had dealt with depression, and I heard tons of stories of people who had dealt with depression for a period of time in their lives, and it was a really dark period, and then they'd moved on and put it behind them. So what about those people? If they could do it, why not me? And that's when I had kind of like a light bulb moment, which is this: I was trying to get help from the wrong kind of people. Instead of going to help to people for help for people who had never beat depression or didn't believe I could do it, I had to learn from people who could do it. The way I thought about it was this: learning from people who had never beaten depression. This was like taking my car to a mechanic to get it fixed, and it was a mechanic who didn't believe my car could be fixed, and he had never fixed a car in his life, and this is who I wanted to help me. It was the exact wrong kind of person. It's absurd. What you want is someone who believes you can do it and can help you do it. So from that insight, I decided I would learn from people who had successfully beaten depression. The only catch with this new strategy, and it was a big one, is that from the people who have actually beaten depression, there is not that much advice for whatever reason. It could be that depression is just kind of a dark stigma that they don't want to address, or it could be like it was a problem or a headache that they once dealt with, but it's not an issue for them anymore, so they're not dealing with it anymore. Regardless, the end result is that any advice that I heard from people who had beaten depression was very general, very vague, not actionable, so I never got the step-by-step instruction that I was looking for. So now, faced with this new kind of roadblock, I decided the following. Since other people did not provide the steps that I wanted, I would identify the steps on my own. At this point, I had come to the conclusion that it was possible to beat depression. I just hadn't found a way to do it yet. And so from this point forward, I would just focus on identifying the steps and move forward in this way the best that I could on my own. So this was a life-changing decision for me, where I decided to just take a completely new approach to depression from scratch, and I started by identifying the obstacles, what made it really hard for me to beat depression or stay depression-free. For example, a huge obstacle that I identified was my low energy and motivation, right? Even though I wanted to beat depression, I had very low energy or motivation to do anything. So how would I remove obstacles like these? I then developed new strategies that other people weren't doing at all, such as the lazy approach to depression, using it as a key strategy to remove obstacles. You'll learn more about the lazy approach in the training as we go on, but by developing this new strategy and the lazy approach strategy, I was able to apply it to all these tests that I did. I tested everything that I could to get rid of depression, whether it was supplements or exercise or or sunlight, healthy lifestyle changes, socializing, making mental changes. I tested all of these things with my new lazy approach to depression, and what happened is the winners soon emerged for me. I found out what actually worked and what actually didn't, and I was able to focus on what actually worked. And as a result of doing all this, I had a massive breakthrough in 2006. After just a couple weeks of this new strategy, new approach, I already felt way better, less depressed. I'd already proven that I didn't have this feeling of depression anymore, that I could beat it way faster and easier than other people ever believed possible. I'd actually done this deliberately instead of accidentally. And so to me, it was just a matter of how do I make sure I never sink back into depression again? How do I keep developing this? Well, within a month of using this strategy and these tactics I used, I knew I would never again deal with depression thanks to the new strategies and system. And so that's what happened. Within a month, I achieved the so-called impossible. I broke free from depression, stayed depression-free, and to this day, this is the proudest achievement of my life, which makes me so excited about it, excited about teaching other people about it, because I want other people to have the same experience that I did. So as a result of this strategy, I have not struggled with depression since 2006. I have my life is better in each and every way as a result, even when things don't go my way. So that's the reason I presented this really ridiculous picture of me with a broken umbrella. It's just to show you that my life, I'm still a human being, right? I still have ups and downs, good days, bad days. But what I don't do is I don't have depression working against me. So even when things aren't going my way, my life is so much better and easier and more enjoyable in every way. And the main thing I want you to take away from this story is that everything that I did, you can do too. So you'll see why others have had success with it and how you can replicate that exact success. So let's dive right into this by learning the 3 keys and strategy for beating depression the easy way. Now, the first key for beating depression the easy way is you have to have a daily strategy, something that you do every day to feel better and happier and less depressed. Furthermore, this strategy has to be very easy for you to do so that you can use this daily strategy no matter how little energy or motivation you have. I call this idea the lazy approach to depression, and it solves your low energy and motivation problem because it's a strategy you can do daily no matter how little energy or motivation you have. The second key for beating depression is you absolutely want to focus on what works the most for beating depression to get the fastest and easiest results. And finally, for beating depression, you want a more advanced strategy. Instead of an easy daily strategy, and in addition to the easy daily strategy, you want like an advanced non-daily strategy that can completely transform your experience of life and just make it normal for you to feel better and happier instead of depressed. Now, if you have all these three keys working together, what it does is it makes everything, it automatically improves your well-being and your mood and makes you easy for you to beat depression faster and easier because with these 3 keys, you have a strategy, you have a way of beating depression. This gives you much more confidence that you have what it takes, that boosts your self-esteem. You're now more motivated to take action. So you take action, you get results. You're highly productive because you're focusing on what works. And all of this combined means you're breaking free from depression in the fastest, easiest way possible and feeling better and happier in the fastest, easy way possible. So these are the exact keys that you want to use. So let's dive into these keys for a little bit more detail. The first key is minimal effort. And by this is the daily lazy approach to depression, where the big idea is that whatever you're doing to beat depression, you want to identify the minimal amount of effort you can put in to see results. So this is pretty much the opposite of what most people do. Most people identify something and try to overdo it. You want to identify the least amount of effort you can put in to get results. So for example, I have a core daily strategy that I use. It takes me about 5 to 7 minutes every day. It's super easy, super enjoyable. It boosts me up every day. And it's so easy to do, I actually do it because it's the lazy approach. And you'll see how, even though it takes 5 to 7 minutes, it doesn't really add time to my day because it's stuff that I would just do anyway. For example, I make it part of my day to take a 5-minute walk every day. So as opposed to going to the gym and running on the treadmill for 30 minutes to get the benefits of exercise, I say, you know what? The least amount of effort I can put in to see results is a 5-minute walk. And this makes it easy for me to get the benefits of exercise because I can take this 5-minute walk around my apartment if I want. I don't even have to go outside, so I can do it anywhere, anytime. It's super easy for me. So you might say, yes, you get a lot more benefits from exercise if you run for 30 minutes and you get your heart rate up to this level and so on. That's fine, but that's almost beside the point. The point is that you already get results and benefits from 5 minutes, so just aim for that. If you want to do more, that's great, but you don't have to. Having this minimal effort strategy means you can do something every day no matter how depressed you are. So it's absolutely key that you develop this lazy approach. This is something that pretty much no one struggling with depression does, except for my students. But it's so important that you actually have a plan or a strategy that you can use when you're at the depths of depression and you have barely any energy or motivation. So this is what saves you no matter where you are. And by having this strategy, not only are you able to execute it no matter how depressed you are, like no matter how little energy or motivation you have, but by having this strategy, you automatically have more confidence in yourself and your abilities because you know, hey, I can do this. You have more motivation because you think, well, it's so easy for me to do. Why not do it? This gives you peace of mind. This gives you confidence. Not only does it make this easier for you to get results, but feeling better this way with this kind of peace of mind, it helps lift you out of depression in and of itself. And because it is something that you do daily, you do these things daily to feel better and less depressed, well, that's how you start making it normal to feel better and happier instead of depressed. So definitely start using this lazy approach moving forward. Now for key 2, you want to focus on what works the most for beating depression because what you really want is the biggest bang for your buck, the best results with the least amount of effort. So this ties into the lazy approach because the lazy approach, remember, is all about minimal effort, and you're wanting, by identifying what works the most, this is another way of identifying how to do the least amount of work to get the most amount of results. So consider for just 1 second all the different possible ways that people use to beat depression. They use things like antidepressant medication, exercise, healthy foods, yoga, sunlight, acupuncture, oils, changing your thinking, vitamins and supplements, hobbies, music, volunteering, distracting themselves with television, movies. And just take a moment to look over this list of all these different ways that people use to beat depression, therapy, and so on. What do you think is the single most important thing you want to focus on to beat depression in the fastest, easiest way possible? What is the single biggest thing that gets you the biggest results? And in fact, it's the one thing you absolutely must do to beat depression. What is it? Well, if you ask people this question, it turns out lots of people just don't know the answer to this question, right? So of course, it's hard to beat depression if you don't know what to focus on. A lot of people also just flat out get it wrong. They think they know, but they don't. For example, antidepressants and exercise are by far the most common 2 answers to this question, but they are not the most powerful factors for beating depression. There's something that's far more powerful and essential, and that is, I'll tell you right now, the most important, powerful thing you can do to beat depression is to change your thinking. Why? Because it is absolutely necessary, first of all, for beating depression. For example, let's say you think your life is miserable and awful, and it will be miserable and awful until the day you die. If that's what you think, it does not matter how many antidepressants you take, or how much exercise you get, or how much sunlight you get, or how much vitamins you take. You can take all the vitamins and supplements and all the antidepressants in the world, but if you're still thinking that life is miserable and awful until the day you die, you will remain deeply depressed no matter what you do. So it's absolutely essential that you change your thinking to stop being depressed. Now, this makes complete logical sense. I hope you see that now. But it's also been proven beyond the shadow of a doubt that this is the most powerful thing you can do to beat depression. It's been proven by every single drug trial ever conducted via the placebo effect for depression. So because this is such a powerful idea and because most people don't understand how drug trials prove the power of changing your thinking, let's dive into this for just 1 second. Now, first of all, what is the placebo effect for depression? What the placebo effect for depression is, it works like this. Before any drug or antidepressant goes to market for depression, before it can be sold to people, it goes through a drug trial, okay? And for every drug trial, half the people in the study, they get the real medicine, but the other and the other half of the people in the study, they get a fake sugar pill. It doesn't do anything. This fake sugar pill is known as a placebo. The catch or the trick is that the people who take this fake sugar pill, they don't know it's fake. For all they know, it's the real medicine. But what happens after people take this fake sugar pill? In every single drug trial ever conducted, and there have been thousands of drug trials, in every single one, so many people get better off of this fake sugar pill and get out of depression by taking the fake sugar pill that the real medication often doesn't beat it, so the drug never goes to market. But when the drugs do beat the placebo, it barely beats the placebo effect. So that's how powerful the effect of taking the sugar pill is, which is why it's known as the placebo effect for depression. Now, this is extremely well documented. Everyone accepts this, not controversial at all. This is understood pretty much by everyone who knows anything about depression. In fact, pharmaceutical companies know this and understand this the best, and they don't dispute it because they're the ones who've proved it with all their drug trials that any antidepressant can barely beat the power of taking a sugar pill. Now, this might seem absurd to you because you know your entire life, if you're like me, you've heard that depression is this huge, devastating, debilitating condition, but this idea that people are getting out of depression by taking sugar pills, it makes no sense at first glance, but when you think about it more, it makes complete sense because what the placebo effect really is, it's the power of changing your thinking. That is what it is. So think about it. When a person first takes a sugar pill, and before a person takes a sugar pill, he's thinking thoughts like this: I can't get rid of depression no matter what I do. Now, this is a deeply depressing thought that makes you more depressed. If you'll remember when I told you my story, this was when I was at my lowest, when I believed it was pointless and hopeless for me that I could never get rid of depression. This thought makes you deeply, deeply depressed. But then, after people take their sugar pill and they think it's real medicine, they start thinking, maybe I can get rid of depression. And this thought that maybe you can get rid of depression, it's a very uplifting thought, and it helps lift you out of depression. So this one change in thought is so powerful that the antidepressants, most antidepressants that go to market, they can't beat it, and the ones that do barely beat it. Now, this reveals something really important about depression that you have to understand, and that is that depression is completely unlike any other condition. I hear all the times that depression is a disease like any other disease like diabetes. This is 100% false. And it's important to understand that, because if that's what you really think, you really don't understand depression. So let me prove to you that depression is unlike any other condition. If you're struggling with something like diabetes and you think, maybe I can get rid of diabetes, you do not instantly have less diabetes as a result. But if you're struggling with depression and you start thinking, maybe I can get rid of depression, the moment you think that and believe that, your condition instantly changes and you feel better and less depressed, showing you that depression is completely unlike any other condition. And this is awesome because it means that you have way, way, way more power and control than you previously might have thought. Here, you can clearly see just one accidental change in thought from I can't get rid of depression to maybe I can get rid of depression. That has such a powerful effect. But what if you deliberately change just 2 or 3 thoughts, what would the effect of that be? And once you realize that you can deliberately change your thinking in ways that help lift you out of depression, now you understand you have way more power and control, and that you can get rid of depression so much faster and easier by knowing exactly what to do and doing it step by step. So right now, I want you to completely lock in this insight, because this is the insight that completely transformed my life, and hopefully the insight that will completely transform your life. And that is that changing your thinking has been proven beyond the shadow of a doubt to be the most effective thing that you can do to beat depression. So first and foremost, you want to focus on this. If this sounds familiar to you, that's key 2. Focus on what works the most. Since changing your thinking is the most effective thing, you want to make it the cornerstone or the foundation of your daily strategy. Remember, you want a daily minimal effort, lazy approach strategy to beating depression. So every day you want to be making easy mental changes that you can do anywhere, anytime, that immediately boost you. And also, because changing your thinking is so powerful and the most effective thing, you also want to use it as the basis of your advanced strategy for changing your life. So you want to make changing your thinking the advanced strategy that helps transform your life on a much deeper level, that makes it easy for you to be depression-free and happy, because essentially you rewire your brain to not think in depressing ways, but to think in uplifting ways. So now that you know this, let's dive into key 3, which is having an advanced strategy for beating depression that completely transforms your experience of life by changing the way you think and feel on a deep, deep level. So today you're going to learn a strategy for changing the way you think and feel on a deep level, because I'm going to teach you the strategy I developed, which I call the better than CBT strategy for beating depression. Now, why do I call it the better than CBT method? In case you're not familiar with it, there's something called cognitive behavioral therapy. And cognitive behavioral therapy is abbreviated as CBT. And the basic idea behind CBT is that if you can change how you think, you can change how you feel. Now, since you've just learned how the placebo effect for depression proves overwhelmingly how just changing one little thought changes can get you out of depression, it's already clear to you the truth in this idea. But the catch with CBT and these advanced strategies, I just want to point out, is that it requires more time, effort, and analysis. Unlike easy daily mental changes that you can do anywhere and anytime, it's like therapy. You're not going to sit down with your therapist every day, right? Well, same way with CBT, you're not going to do deep critical analysis of your thoughts every day. You might at the beginning, while you're deeply depressed, do it every day for a few weeks or however long. But as you feel better and happier, and it's normal for you to not feel depressed, you'll find that you don't use the strategy every day. In fact, that's where I am today. I developed the strategy, and I used it all the time at the beginning, and now maybe I'll use it like once a month or something like that, or once or twice a month, but very rarely, only when issues come up. It's not something I use every day. It's an advanced strategy I still use, but not every day. The reason you want to use this kind of advanced strategy is because it's so effective. So, for example, CBT has been proven to be more powerful than antidepressants, because when you use cognitive behavioral therapy, you're creating deep changes in how you think that are lasting. You're essentially rewiring your brain. So it doesn't matter once you stop doing CBT, because you've rewired your brain, the effects last. Whereas with antidepressants, you have to keep taking the medication to keep getting that drug effect. So this makes CBT or advanced changes in thinking a clear winner in this way as well. In fact, to give you a sense of when I'm talking about how you're changing your thinking and the way your brain is rewired, there have been brain scans done on people who have gone through cognitive behavioral therapy. And what these brain scans reveal is that it's truly brain changing, as in when people do cognitive behavioral therapy, the volume of their brain literally changes. And furthermore, different areas of their brain light up the way they process information when they're thinking about the same kinds of things. So what's essentially happened is by creating advanced changes in thinking, you're literally changing the way your brain exists and functions, and this completely transforms your experience of life. So as powerful as CBT is and has been proven to be, I am going to now teach you the better than CBT strategy for beating depression, the easy way. And so you're going to see why the strategy I developed is even far more powerful than CBT, will give you a huge advantage over other people. And this is the strategy that broke me free from depression and has helped me remain depression-free since 2006. So I'm really excited to teach it to you today. Right now, let's dive into it. The better than CBT strategy. Just so you know, I'm such a fan of the system that I developed a tool for it. I developed a tool for the better than CBT strategy, and I'm going to show you how to use the better than CBT strategy using this tool to make it much more clear and easy to understand. So right now, let's jump on over to the tool for just a second, and here we go. All right, so this is what the depression strategy better than CBT tool looks like. And as you can see right off the bat, it helps you create deep changes in how you feel via changing how you think in a deep way. But it also does a lot of other things that are really powerful as well. For example, it'll help you stop ruminating. If you don't know what that means dwelling on negative thoughts that make you stressed, anxious, and depressed. Pretty much every depressed person guarantee you ruminates. This tool will also help you change your thinking in any way you want, whether you want to change a mental attitude or an outlook. It will also help you create fast changes in how you feel that aren't as deep. But today, I want to teach you how to create deep changes in how you feel. If you ever decide to use this tool, it will give you as much or as little guidance as you want. So for example, if you wanted help changing, let's say you wanted to stop or reduce having fear or anxiety about something specific, this tool will give you mental recommendations or thoughts you might want to think about changing, guiding you step by step. But for today, I want to show you how you can create deep changes in how you feel from scratch. So let's get started with that by going to the next step. Once you decide you want to create a deep change in how you feel, the very next step is that you have to identify the exact change in feel you want to create. So for example, you might say, I want to stop feeling depressed in general. Now this is the step that most people get to. Most people want to stop being depressed, but that they don't identify how they want to start feeling instead. And this is a big problem because you haven't gotten your mind on board to help you, so it'll be very challenging for you. To understand this, imagine if you got into a taxi cab and you said, hey, I want to stop being here. I don't want to be in this location anymore. The taxi cab driver will give you a funny look and say, that's fine, but we're not going anywhere until you tell me exactly where you want to go. And that's kind of how your mind works too. Your mind might understand you want to stop feeling depressed in general, but until you tell your mind a different place where you want to be instead, your mind won't be on board to help you. As soon as you identify this, on the other hand, your mind says, oh good, now I have something to aim for. So this is a very simple, powerful step, but most people never do it. And in fact, traditional CBT completely skips this step, which is a shame because it is so simple and powerful and really at the beginning necessary for beating depression and feeling happier. Now, once you've identified how you want to stop feeling and start feeling instead, the next step is to identify ways of thinking that contribute to the way you want to stop feeling. I have discovered through trial and error that the magic number of thoughts that you want to identify is 1. Just one change in thought is super powerful, but our thoughts are often connected to one another. So if you combine 2 changes in thought, that's a much more powerful change. And then 3 changes in thought is an extremely powerful change. So this is what you want to aim for. And most CBT methods or techniques, you deal with 1 thought at a time. So you're getting another powerful boost by identifying 3 thoughts. Now these thoughts will completely depend on you, right? What makes you deeply depressed? What might not be the same thoughts that make someone else deeply depressed. So I'm just going to write in 3 examples, but the key is that you would want to identify thoughts that are relevant to you, let them bubble up, and address those thoughts. Now, I've picked these 3 thoughts for an example. As you can imagine, if you are thinking in these 3 ways, you will naturally feel deeply depressed. So the next step Now that you've identified thoughts that make you deeply depressed, the next thought is to get your mind on board and motivated to stop thinking this way. So how do you motivate your mind to let go of thoughts that make you deeply depressed? The way you do that is you teach your mind why it's in your best interest to not think these ways anymore. Specifically, you teach your mind how your life would be better. So for example, just take, for example, the thought, I can't stop being depressed. How would your life be better if you didn't think this way? If you didn't think just this thought, and this thought, you'd have less stress and anxiety, right? You'd be less down and depressed and be more upbeat and energized. If you didn't think this way, if you didn't think that you couldn't stop being depressed, you'd have more self-esteem and self-confidence. You'd also naturally have greater strength and capabilities. You'd clearly be way more successful getting rid of depression if you didn't believe it was impossible to not do it. And I would argue that because you're more calm and relaxed, and because you have more self-esteem and self-confidence, this will naturally translate into better social interactions with other people. And overall, you'll clearly be a happier person and enjoy life more. And this is very important and interesting down here. If you're more calm and relaxed, if you're a happier person, you will naturally have more peace of mind, and you're naturally going to enjoy much better quality of sleep and therefore better physical health. In case you don't know, poor sleep is a huge factor that contributes to depression, right? So by changing the way you think and feel, not only are you doing that, but you're also improving the quality of your sleep. So this really helps you skyrocket out of depression in so many different ways. Once your mind realizes, hey, life is so much better once you stop thinking this way, you've motivated your mind to stop thinking in these destructive ways. The next step for you is that you have to make it really easy for you, for your mind to reject these ways of thinking, because your mind might say, hey, life is better off not thinking this way, but a lot of these ways of thinking I currently think are valid or true, right? So the way you deal with this is now you want to challenge your thoughts and do the opposite of what most people do. Most people defend and justify their thoughts at all costs. So you want to do the opposite. You want to pretend that you're a lawyer and you're making arguments against each one of these thoughts in your own way, arguments that make sense to you. So for example, I can't stop being depressed. You might say, nonsense. I can change just one thought and that already makes me feel better and less depressed, and I can make other lifestyle changes that make me feel better and less depressed, and I've been happy for years before I struggled with depression, so I can go back to that. Make all the arguments that make sense to you until it's clear to you why this thought is a thought you want to reject. Just logically, it doesn't make sense to think that way. Now, this is all fine and good for thoughts that you can clearly prove or that they are false or invalid. But what happens when you start thinking, when you're addressing a thought that is clearly true and valid? Now, this is an area where I think CBT really drops the ball, because traditional CBT thrives on pointing out to you, look, all these thoughts that are making you depressed or anxious, they're not true. They're not valid. You don't know that they're true. They're distortions, and so on. That's what CBT really helps you in those areas. But what about thoughts that are clearly 100% true or valid? Not as helpful. So here's how you deal with thoughts that are clearly true and valid. Let's say it's clearly true and valid that you're sick and dying. The way you challenge it is you say, even if, and you come up with another way of thinking about your situation that's also true and valid, but it's actually constructive and beneficial. So for example, even if I'm sick and dying, I'm still alive and I can enjoy and make the most of my remaining life. Let's say that, for example, all right? So here's the big idea. I'm sick and dying. It might be completely true and valid, right? But it makes you deeply, deeply depressed to think this way. Whereas I'm still alive and I can enjoy and make the most of my remaining life, that's also 100% true and completely valid. The difference is this helps lift you out of depression, helps you enjoy the rest of your remaining life. So this is a constructive thought worth thinking, and the sick and dying thought is worthless and not thinking. So this is a thought that's easy to reject, even if it's true or valid, because you have a much more beneficial thought that's equally true and valid, right? You might even think of this as the difference between looking at a glass as half empty or half full. Both valid ways of thinking about it, right? But if one way is supremely beneficial and the other way is extremely destructive, reject one way and go for the way that actually helps you, right? So once you have challenged each of these thoughts, you have now made it extremely easy for your mind to reject these thoughts. The next step that you want to do is make conscious decisions, instructing your mind how to think moving forward, or why you want to reject these thoughts. This is another step that traditional CBT skips. Again, a shame, because it's super simple and powerful. Usually, when you choose to not think a certain way, the decision is completely ineffective because you haven't taken the steps we just did. But now you have motivated your mind to stop thinking in ways that make you feel depressed. You've shown why these ways of thinking are not worth thinking. So now your mind is extremely receptive to your reasons and decisions to reject these thoughts, and how you want to. And by teaching your mind, you want to immediately stop feeling depressed by stop thinking these thoughts. Now your mind is very receptive to this decision. And by making these decisions, it's like pressing the button that says make it happen, and it's completely life-changing the moment you make these decisions and it all sinks in for you and your mind. And you might think at this point, okay, I'm done. I've stopped thinking in ways that work against me and make me feel depressed. But your job actually is not done, because when you change the way you think and feel, you don't want to just stop feeling bad, right? That's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to feel good, to feel great instead. So even if you've eliminated ways that make you feel bad, what are the ways that are going to make you feel great and make life automatically make you feel happy and make life feel worth living every day? The way you tap into these ways of thinking is that you want to address the previous ways of thinking that currently made you depressed, and replace them with thoughts that make you feel better and happier instead. Ideally, you start with kind of like an opposite thought, but regardless of which way, how you decide to replace the thought, the absolute key is that you replace it with a thought that you can easily accept as being true or valid. So for example, if you can accept I can stop being depressed instead of I can't stop being depressed, that's great. But if you can't, if this thought isn't true or valid to you right now, then maybe do a thought like, or I can at least feel a lot better than I do now. All right? The key is to identify something that you can easily accept as true or valid that will benefit you. For this reason, instead of my life is awful, a new thought like my life is amazing and perfect in every way, that's not really a good thought, because I doubt you're going to accept that as true or valid at this point. But maybe you could say something like, I have some things going for me and I can always improve my life, right? So you can, whatever makes sense to you that you can easily accept as true or valid. And for I'm sick and dying, we already came up with this thought, right? So I'm still alive and I can enjoy and make the most of my remaining life. So I am going to stop right here for this system, because the rest of the steps are pretty much like the steps we did before. What you're going to do now in the next steps is you're going to come up with ways your life would be so much better if you thought this way. This motivates your mind to start thinking in this ways. Then you start looking for evidence. You're like a lawyer supporting all of these thoughts with evidence and logic. It makes it really easy for your mind to accept it. And then you make conscious choices telling your mind, I want to think this way moving forward, and your mind is receptive to it, and it doesn't. And it does it. And the overall effect is you completely rewire your mind, and so you completely transform your experience of life. Because imagine this. Instead of automatically every day thinking, I can't stop being depressed, my life is awful, I'm sick and dying, instead of thinking that way, which is deeply depressing, instead of that, if it was natural and automatic for you to think, I can stop being depressed, I can improve my life, I can enjoy the rest of my remaining life. If that was how you automatically thought, of course, you'd feel so much happier and better on autopilot, and that's what you want to do. So these steps in this system is how you completely rewire your brain and how you completely transform your experience of life. And guess what? You can do this in the span of time that it takes to watch a television show. You can completely transform your experience of life. And this is how you can get rid of depression way faster and way easier than pretty much anyone on the planet thinks is possible. And this system gives you an advantage over pretty much everyone on the planet. So, okay, so now that you have learned this system, let's go back and pick up where we left off. What I want you to understand is by this point, you have learned the 3 keys in this advanced strategy. And what I want you to really take away from this is that all these keys in strategy, they're not just academic theory. They're not just academic exercise. These are the real deal. These are the exact keys in strategy that I use to beat depression. And they're the exact keys in strategy that you can use if you're struggling with depression and you want to break free from depression in the fastest, easiest way possible and stay depression free. So it's the exact same strategy that has kept me depression free since 2006. So really what I want you to understand is that these 3 keys and strategies, they are absolutely the fastest, easiest, most effective way to beat depression. And the biggest takeaway of all, you can do this just like I did and just like others have. It's completely replicable, okay? Now the obvious question is, how do you keep making it easier and easier using these 3 keys, like the daily strategy with minimal effort and focusing on what works, and the advanced strategy? How do you keep making it easy and easier to beat depression with these 3 keys? What are the easy mental changes that you want to make every day? What are the easiest, fastest ways to make deep changes in how you think and feel? What are the other easy wins that you want to do every day to feel better and happier and less depressed? How do you keep making it easier and easier with these 3 keys? Well, you have a choice here. You can either keep building on what you've learned today by doing it slow, which is where you use trial and error and you experiment with every tactic you can, just like I did in the beginning, or you can do it very quickly using my full system in the Beat Depression the Easy Way program, where I walk you through everything you want to do step by step in the exact order, and where you also get full access to the Better Than CBT tool in the program, and it's step-by-step guidance for creating these deep, life-changing steps in how you think and feel. As Albert Einstein once said, everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. And that is exactly what the Beat Depression the Easy Way program and Better Than CBT tool is. It is designed to give you the solution, every single thing you need to beat depression the easy way in the fastest, easiest way possible with minimal effort, maximum immediate results. And it is absolutely the fastest way possible to go from being depressed to breaking free from depression. So the program and tool helps you do this, not this. So very quickly, here's what the program looks like if you're interested in checking it out. The program and tool, when you log into your account, this is what it looks like. You have 3 courses here, and you also have the Better Than CBT tool over here. Now, the first course is the core strategy for beating depression the easy way. This is the daily strategy that helps lift you out of depression. And once you complete this course, you're ready for the expanded core strategy. And this is the next steps, daily steps that you want to take to stay depression free. So the core strategy helps lift you out of depression, and then the next course, the expanded core strategy, helps you stay depression free. And the third course, the advanced strategy, that helps give you tips on how to beat depression faster and easier with the Better Than CBT tool, with the advanced changes in how you think and feel. So you'll get tips in this last course. So if you want to take a closer look at the core strategy course, this has 9 modules in it. It contains about 27 lessons that help lift you out of depression. It starts right away from Module 1 with the first 5 steps you want to take to beat depression the easy way. So this gives you a solid foundation that you'll build on. And right away after that, you start learning the exact easy wins and exact easy daily changes and things you want to be doing every day, especially mental changes to feel better and happier instead of depressed. So in Modules 2 and 3, you learn the exact changes you want to make to reduce stress and anxiety and feel more calm and relaxed. In Module 4, the changes you want to make to feel better and happier every day. In Module 5, the easy changes you'll want to make to boost your self-esteem and self-confidence every day. In Module 6, the exact changes you'll want to make every day to make life feel more enjoyable, meaningful, and purposeful. Now you can imagine that if every day Every day you started your day feeling less stressed and anxious, more calm and relaxed, happier, having more self-esteem and self-confidence, and finding life more enjoyable, meaningful, and purposeful. If every day you got that boost, then of course every day you would feel better, happier, and less depressed, and it would become normal for you to feel this way and enjoy life more. And part of the beauty of the program is that I teach you step by step all the mental changes to make that I've learned over the years and developed. And I wrap all these mental changes up into something that I call the Daily Happiness Mind Walk, which takes you less than 2.5 minutes to do the full thing. And the Daily Happiness Mind Walk is full of the mental changes, the easy mental changes you can make anytime, anywhere that make you feel in these ways. And you can do it while you're doing other things. For example, I do the Daily Happiness Mind Walk first thing every morning while I'm getting ready for the day, while I'm putting on my clothes or brushing my teeth or taking a shower. So it doesn't add time to my day. And that's the whole idea. Remember, you want a lazy approach to depression with minimal effort. That means something that's going to be so easy to do and doesn't add time to your day, you'll naturally do it. So that in a nutshell is what the core strategy course is like, how that helps lift you out of depression. And then the expanded core strategy to stay depression free, it'll jump into some more advanced tactics like how to benefit from social interactions, the easy way to feel better and less depressed, a quick and easy way to naturally get better sleep every night, the same strategy I use every night before I go to sleep. You'll also learn the exact minimal supplement strategy that I use to beat depression. Now, this is interesting. Supplements, this is more of an advanced strategy. Most people use supplements as one of the first things they do to beat depression, and that's a mistake. You'll learn why. This is actually one of the last things you want to do as part of your strategy. You'll also learn in the expanded core strategy course how to deal with rumination to stop ruminating. In case you don't know what rumination is, it's dwelling on negative thoughts that make you stressed, anxious, and depressed. Every depressed person on the planet does this. The most common advice for dealing with rumination is to distract yourself, like throw yourself into a hobby or turn your attention to an activity or distract yourself with movies or television or whatever else. But you know what? That is a Band-Aid. That's a temporary Band-Aid because if you're prone to ruminating, these thoughts will always keep coming back. So this, you will learn a much deeper, sensible approach that works, that instead of hiding from your thoughts or trying to distract yourself from them, you can address them peacefully, calmly, and by addressing them in this peaceful, calm way that you can do anywhere, anytime, you can make it easy for your mind to let go of these thoughts and easy for your mind to start thinking in more constructive ways instead, in a very simple, natural way. So this is a life-changing strategy right here that will also completely transform your experience from depression. And then in the course, you'll learn how you can put everything together, everything you learn in the core strategy and the expanded core strategy, how you can put everything together in a daily strategy that you can do every day within 5 to 7 minutes every day. It's the exact same strategy I use every single day to beat depression. In case you want to see what a course lesson looks like, here you go. You can click on, all you do is you just click on a course lesson, and most of these course lessons, they will contain a video where I walk you through step by step exactly what you want to do. You can even adjust the video to go faster if you feel like I'm going too slow for you. Below each video is a PDF that you can download so you can have the notes. You can mark your progress in the course, skip to the next unit here or previous lesson here. You can also jump to any lesson you want very simply and easily by just clicking over here on the modules on the right-hand side. So for example, if you wanted to jump to this next lesson, you would just click there, and there you go, the next lesson. At any time you want to access the tool or the courses, you just go to your account. You can click on My Courses or the Better Than CBT tool, and there it is. You have access to everything. So this, in a nutshell, is exactly what the Beat Depression the Easy Way program and also the Better Than CBT tool looks like when you have access to it. Okay, so now that we've taken a look at the program and the CBT tool, you might be thinking, okay, so how much would it cost me to take this program and to use this tool? What will it cost? And also, how effective are they, and how worth the price are they in comparison to other methods of dealing with depression. So basically, what are your options, right? With this in mind, let's take a look at other methods for dealing with depression, what they cost, and how effective they are. To do this, there's this really interesting article I found online called The Real Monthly Cost of Depression, in which 6 people candidly talk about how much it costs them every month to deal with depression. So we're going to look at a few of these case studies. So first case study, the first person, she pays $70 every month in medication to deal with depression, and for additional monthly treatments, it's another $420 to $470. What are additional monthly treatments? Well, very often it's therapy, but it could be gym memberships or smoothies or healthy foods or social clubs. Pretty much any other way people think helps them deal with depression, that's what additional monthly treatments are. So for this person, her combined costs between medication and these other treatments, she's conservatively paying $500 a month to deal with depression, which translates to $6,000 per year or $60,000 over 10 years. This next person, not paying any for medication, but for her other method for dealing with depression, it costs at least $300. So let's be very conservative and say she's paying at least $3,600 per year or $36,000 over 10 years. This next person, between medication and other treatments, conservatively, she's paying $700 per month, which is over $8,000 per year or over $80,000 over 10 years. And finally, this last person, she's paying the least. Between medication and treatments, she's paying $185 per month, which is a little over $2,000 per year or $22,000 over 10 years. So the reason I'm explaining this to you is that it's really important to understand the cost of dealing with depression, because people who are dealing with depression, on average, very extremely conservatively, let's go way lower, people who are actually paying to deal with depression, conservatively, they're paying at least $150 per month or $1,800 per year or $18,000 over 10 years. Now, of course, the real cost of depression you can't quantify, because the real cost of depression are the effects on your life, on your job, on your income, on your relationships. Those are the real costs. So we're trying to put a cost to it, but the bigger cost, you really can't put a price on it. So something else to understand about all these other solutions is that they're not a real solution to beat depression, which is why you have these recurring costs. What these people are really paying money for is to manage depression, because they're still dealing with depression. They're just paying money, all this money, to manage it each and every month. So that's why, if you really think about it, the program and the tool that I just showed you, they're worth way more than $1,800 per year or $18,000 over 10 years, because they actually help you beat depression, not manage it, which is what you really want. You really want to be depression-free, and there's no price on that. Even though we're trying to put a price on it, there really is no price on being depression-free and not dealing with depression again. And what I really want you to do is to understand that this is the true value of the program and tool, that not only you use the program and tool, you actually beat depression, you get rid of depression, and they cost much less than any other method for dealing with depression. So, in fact, look at it this way. Right now, if you want to get access to the program and the tool, it's definitely going to cost you less than $1,800 per year or $18,000 over 10 years, because they are full lifetime access. Remember, all these other methods, they're getting you to pay money every month to manage depression. This is like one-time payment, and the whole goal is to not deal with depression again, which is hopefully over time, not only do you beat depression with the program and the tool, but now you save thousands and thousands of dollars every month, every year, because you don't have to pay the recurring cost to manage depression. You're actually done with it. So this is what I would love to happen for you. Not only do you get free from depression, but now you're saving thousands of dollars. Also, with this tool and the solution, you get way more, because you get a real proven solution that actually works to beat depression. It's completely safe, no bad side effects. You only have great side effects because you feel better and happier, and your life improves in every way. You get immediate results result because the moment you change your thinking, your life immediately changes. So this is the fastest solution you'll find. You're also going to get step-by-step guidance on the exact steps to take in the exact order to beat depression the easy way. So instead of struggling with it the way most people do, you're going to know exactly what to do, including all the exact easy daily mental changes you want to make every day. You're going to get guidance from someone who's actually beaten depression. I've been depression-free since 2006, and instead of from someone who's never beaten depression or who fundamentally believes you can't do it. You're going to get a solution that not only helps you stop being depressed, but helps you replace depression with peace of mind, confidence, happiness, so your life gets better in each and every single way. And on top of this, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked if you don't see any improvement. The reason I do this is because I know that it works. There is no other solution out there that gives you a 30-day money-back guarantee. I do because I know that this works. So it's there for you to give you some peace of mind. So to sum it all up, if you want to beat depression in the fastest, easiest way possible with minimal effort and without medication, and even if you have very low energy and motivation, there is simply no better system than the combination of the program and the Better Than CBT tool, because they are completely life-changing. There is no comparable system anywhere in the world. Nothing like this. This is exactly what I needed when I was struggling with depression. If I had had the program and the steps and the tool from the beginning, that would have saved me 10 years of struggling with depression. And the beauty of this, again, is you get full, instant, lifetime access to everything for much less than the expensive yearly cost of other solutions that don't actually work, which only help you manage depression, not beat it. And on top of all of this, it is covered by a 30-day money-back guarantee, which other solutions aren't. So if this sounds good to you and you want to beat depression in the fastest and easiest way possible, I would say to enroll now while the program and the tool are still open for enrollment and the lowest price they will ever be, because my philosophy is to keep increasing the price of the program and tool as I improve them and add to them, and never decrease the price. That's just how I do it. So right now, go to depressionstrategy.com/get. That is depressionstrategy.com/get. And what you'll see everything that you're getting with the program and the tool, and at the bottom of the page, you'll just click the Enroll Now button. So here is what this looks like when you go to depressionstrategy.com/get and you scroll to the bottom. What it looks like is you'll see everything summarized all nicely and neatly for you, how you get the core strategy with 29 lessons, the expanded core strategy with 6 modules and 16 lessons, the Better Than CBT tool, how you'll get all the additions, the improvements to them, the guidance in the forms of videos, the 30-day money-back guarantee. So again, everything is summarized for you so you can clearly see what you're getting and how you get the money-back guarantee. So all you do is you click the Enroll Now button. And once you do that, you'll be taken to a page where you can enter your email address so that this will be used for you to log into your account. This is where your receipt will be sent. So you enter in your email address. You review the details to make sure it looks good to you. At the bottom of the page, you can pay with either credit card or PayPal, and then all you do is you click Continue to Payment, and on the next page, you go ahead and you enter in your payment details, and then finally, you click Pay Now to complete the order, and the second you do that, your payment will be processed, and then you're redirected to a page that lets you know the payment has been successful. And by this point, you instantly have access. You guys have access to all the program courses. You have access to the tool. And to get there at any time, you can just click either the My Account link in the navigation or this other link on the Success page. And after that, right away, you're already well on your way to improving your life step by step with the programs and the tool right away. So again, this is what the program and the tool looks like. Here are what the 3 online courses look like. Right now, you're already on a roll with learning the 3 keys and the daily strategy. So right now, you immediately pick up and keep the ball rolling. You immediately would jump into taking the courses, learning the 5 steps, learning the easy mental changes you want, full instant access to everything. Again, this is what the Better Than CBT tool looks like. If you look at this tool, you'll notice that it'll allow you to actually create new changes in how you think and feel, and you can save those changes if you want to review them or delete them, or you don't have to save them. But it gives you a lot of power and flexibility with what you want to do with it. And so to get instant access to everything, to all this, again, you go to depressionstrategy.com/get. Again, that's depressionstrategy.com/get. And if you also want to get your 2 bonuses, you can go to depressionstrategy.com/YT bonus. Again, that is depressionstrategy.com/YT bonus. So anyway, thank you very much for watching the video. Regardless of your decision, apply what you have learned today to beat depression in the fastest and easiest way possible with these 3 keys and the strategy. And right now, if you're ready to take it to the next level, go ahead to go to depressionstrategy.com/get. Again, thanks for watching the video, and look forward to applying what you've learned to getting rid of depression in the fastest, easiest way possible. That's all for now. I'll see you in another video.